See where stay on connection. Facebook's up. Yep, both of them. Everything's up on the screen. So I'm very happy about that. Wait, on YouTube. Okay, once again, good morning. Welcome to the Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show for Tuesday, August 27th. Today we're going to be doing some breakdown specials today. We're doing the Tulane Green Wave versus the FIU Panthers. That will be this Thursday night in Yeoman Stadium. So we're doing the breakdowns today. We will have the press conferences from Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz is going to be on the teleconference. Also, we'll have the Florida International Panthers little kickoff special talking about their season, stuff like that. And we'll have the breakdowns. So we'll be, if you're on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, you can come in, tell me hi, whatever. Don't matter. Let's see if we're on Facebook before we begin our show. Yeah, we on. I see my ugly face on there. So let's go ahead and switch this over. And we're on public. So if you want to come in, and I'll share it to the Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer side. You can go there and view the show there. It's on. So let's go ahead and talk about today's breakdown, the Tulane Green Wave, and also the FIU Panthers, which will be this coming Thursday. So let's begin. We'll switch this over. 1 second. Let me get this turned into the screen, so it won't be too big for anybody. So I'll just switch this out. Okay, everything is up, and we'll turn off the text. So you'll be able to see everything on the screen without any problems. So there it is. Everything's off. Okay, we'll play Willie Fritz's teleconference from Monday. That's from the American Conference, so I'm about to do that. We'll play the Media Day special with the FIU Panthers in it as well. So let's do that. Let me set this on.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call today. Just give us your thoughts on your preseason as you head into the Thursday night season opener against FIU, please.
Well, we had a great camp. I had a lot of veterans back on this squad, and they knew what to expect. And we reported on July 30th and started practice July 31st, and I think we were able to get in everything that we wanted to. You always feel like there's not enough time, but I think this time we hit all the different situations and scenarios that you need to look at prior to your first game of the year. Starting off with a great opponent in FIU. They've been in back-to-back bowl games. Coach Davis has really got it going down there. Real veteran squad. I believe they had 18 of 22 starters coming back on offense and defense. We played them a couple of years ago down at their place, and they got after us pretty good. So we know we've got a great opponent here in week one, and we're going to have to play really well.
Take questions for Coach Willie Fritz, please. Star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue, and the operator will introduce you.
And first we'll hear from Brooks Kabuna from The Advocate.
Hey, Willie, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm fine. Wanted to ask you about one of your old assistant coaches, Chad Lunsford, over at Georgia Southern, about to face LSU this week. Spread option, gun option, same kind of style you guys have. Just, with that offense, what makes it so difficult for defenses and difference from like the veer option?
Well, there's a lot of things. Matter of fact, we met with our staff. Bob DeBest, the offensive coordinator, was my offensive coordinator when I was head coach at St. Houston State. So very familiar with what they're doing, and they're familiar with what we're doing too. It just you got to be assignment sound. It's like any option team. You got to do a good job of having somebody on the dive, somebody on the quarterback, somebody on the pitch. You'd like to have an extra player at the point of attack if at all possible. They run a lot of misdirection and motions and bringing guys back in. They call it spin and orbit motion, like we call it with the pitch player. And you just got to make sure you're, really assignment sound. And in order to really play it well, I think it's difficult to play it when you're not playing some kind of man coverage and packing the box. So that gives some one-on-one matchups. It gives you a chance to hit some big plays in the passing game as well.
I know you did a lot for that program, seeing them go back-to-back 10-win seasons. I mean, does it look like Chad has this program where it needs to be, and just what can it be like over there?
Yeah, Chad's done a super job, and he's put together a great staff. They've got excellent facilities, and it's a very proud program. They've had a lot of success there over the years. I replaced Jeff Monk, and he did a great job there, and I did a great job at Army, and Paul Johnson was a head coach there one time, and the guy who started it all, Eric Russell, who's a legend there in Statesboro. So, they've got a lot of history with the program, and I'm sure they're excited about coming over to LSU and competing against Coach O. And I know the year before I got to Georgia Southern, they went down to Florida and played them and had a big win there. So, it's that first game, and I'm sure both teams, I'm kind of Switzerland on this deal. And I've got to know those guys over there down the road, and obviously I know everybody at Georgia Southern, so I'm just staying the heck out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's only one season. I said back-to-back, and you mentioned you're tied, so who have you got more calls from over the offseason, Chad or Coach O?
Oh, I've kind of kept my mouth shut. When we talk about offense, we'll talk about it, but that's one of the things. I'm not one of those guys that likes to talk to other people, about who they're playing and all that other kind of stuff, especially when they're friends. I know guys, so I just keep my mouth shut and let them figure it out. They're far smarter than me anyway.
Well, I appreciate it, Willie. Thank you.
You betcha.
And next we'll hear from Dan Tortora with wakeupcalldt.com.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Just what you could say about, this year's team, just where we're at with Tulane. I know when you came in, trying to, build a culture and build an environment in a tremendous city, just what you could say about where the team is now in your kind of planning and maybe creating some of that depth and whatnot.
Got a lot more, veterans back, a lot more experience coming back, but I've only got one guy on the team who was here before I got here. Keyshawn McLeod is going to start for us at right guard. We've been able to add some transfer guys who help that senior class with a few more numbers. But I thought we had a great recruiting class. I've been very impressed with the freshman class we've had in. And probably a couple of years ago, I could see anywhere from 5 to 10 of those guys starting for us. But we're deeper now, and we've got, we've done a nice job recruiting, I think, and we just got to keep developing, the program. We talk about recruiting the right guys that fit into Tulane academically, and also Division I athletes, and having a culture here where you get those guys to stay and you retain them year after year, and that allows you to develop those guys. I think I've got good teachers and coaches, and we've done a nice job of developing some of these guys, from high school to bona fide Division I players.
And then just to speak on, I had the opportunity with Hurricane Katrina relief to come down to the city of New Orleans and to experience the people, especially the people in times of tragedy, and just how positive they were and how good they were, even when they had every reason to be upset or be down. So just what you can say about the city of New Orleans being a special city, and just what, kind of puts it on the map, because it is such a tremendous place.
Well, number one destination city in the world, according to the New York Times last year. And, I know I got people from all over the place coming to visit me now. They didn't used to come visit me when I was at some other places. So our kids enjoy it. We did something that I think was a great time the other day. We broke camp last Thursday night. We took the kids down to eat at a really nice place downtown. Then we did a second line for about 15, 20 blocks, and started with maybe, 150 guys and managers and trainers and coaches. And by the time we ended, and this is on a rainy night, we probably had 400 or 500 people there. So this is a really fun city, very proud city. Everybody's excited about the East Bank All-Stars being the Little League World Series champs. This just happened the other day too. So a lot of great things happening in New Orleans.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck with Week 1.
Thank you.
And any further questions for Coach Fritz, please? Star 1 on your telephone keypad, if so.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. What they saying about...
Continuing our coverage, Conference USA Media Day. Now we turn our attention...
1 second. I switched that over. We have it on the screen, so it came on real quick. So we'll get the Conference Media Days in just few moments. That's with the FIU Panthers. That's from last month. So we'll talk about we'll preview their season. But the truth of the matter is, what they're saying about the city of New Orleans, it's very special. This city is special. Look, going through tragedies, turbulation, and stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is, look, teams that come into the city, look, we give these teams all the respect that they deserve and earn. We don't criticize these people when they come in. We don't tell them they suck and all that. No, you don't do that. That's just dumb right there. So let's go to the Florida Panthers. Florida International Panthers special with the Conference USA. They were at Media Days, so we'll play their thing. So let me go ahead and do that 1 second.
Attention to FIU, and the Panthers picked second in the conference this season. Last year set a school record for wins in 2018, going 9-4, won a bowl game for only the second time, and joining us is the head coach and a longtime friend of mine, Butch Davis.
Ron, it's great to be with you.
Good to see you, buddy. We'll be talking to you in just a couple of minutes. Also joining us, James Morgan. He completed 65% of his passes last year as the quarterback. Good to have you here, my friend.
Good to be here.
And finally, Sage Lewis, considered one of the prime defensive players in Conference USA. Sage, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Butch, when you and I first talked, you took the job, you and I sat right here, and you said, number one, we've got to have a great offense and defensive line. But from that time, we all got the sense that you were going to build something special.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the fruition of hard work and everything else, isn't it?
Very much so, Ron. Obviously, to be successful at any level, it's how well do you control the line of scrimmage. That's a big part of it. But the reality of it is, when you get down to the opportunity to build a team that maybe has a chance to win a championship, these two guys represent absolutely everything that's successful that I've been able to be a part of, is have a great quarterback who's an unbelievable leader, and he's highly productive on game days, and a middle linebacker that sets the expectation, a guy that can fly sideline to sideline, make plays. Sage and James are just unbelievable, and we're great to have them at FIU.
And I want to go back also to 2017. I save all my notes. My wife thinks I'm going to be on that hoarding show one of these days. You said in 2017, the one thing that stood out to you is the team took ownership of the squad.
Yeah.
That kind of set the tone, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And, Sage was there, James wasn't, but my very first team meeting, when I met with the team after I'd taken the job, I said, look, every coach is going to want to win. We're going to want to have a high-profile, good football team and stuff. But I said, for us to be successful, the team has got to take ownership of the success of the team. It's going to set the expectations for off-season workout. It's going to look after each other off the field during the off-season and make sure that you take care of your teammates. And, and these guys have done a phenomenal job over the last 2.5 years. Our work ethic and the off-season conditioning program is great. The passion that they have to prepare to put out the best performance that we can on Saturdays every single week is good, and we've been very blessed to be able to accomplish that.
One coach told me that in the last 2 years, you've been a disciplined team with great awareness.
Yeah.
That's got to make you proud as a coach.
Well, it's nice to hear that. I mean, obviously, we want to be a football team, and we talk about things. Football is situationally anymore, and how much that about red zones and blitzes and down and distances and personnel groupings, and as you grow and as you learn, your football intelligence continues to grow. Your team has a chance to become better and to understand. A lot of teams sometimes don't even embrace the idea of how important it is to be good in special teams. Last year, one of the big plays, was Maurice Alexander on a punt return for touchdowns, and I mean, at one time he was the number one punt returner in the country, not just in Conference USA. And Jose Borgales, our field goal extra point guy, we had a great punter last year, Stone Wilson, that's with the Miami Dolphins. We got to find, but teams that embrace the idea of how important it is to be good in all three phases. And like Sage, for an example, here's a guy that's been a starter, highly productive, but in a heartbeat, he'll go in and play whatever special teams that we need. If we need him to go cover punts or cover kickoffs because it's a critical play in the game, Sage is the first guy to want to jump out there.
Well, you have a lot of production coming back. I thought you had one of the best pass blocking lines in all of college football last year.
I can attest to that.
You're able to walk up the stairs to come here, right?
Sir. Exactly.
But you've got to replace players that had 107 collective starts.
Yeah.
Where are you on the offensive line?
Well, we've got 3 starters coming back, and obviously it's a big part of it. I mean, Alan Mogridge, our offensive line coach, does a phenomenal job. The preparation of those kids and the techniques and the fundamentals that he teaches them, he builds their confidence. I think you referenced the fact I think we gave up 8 sacks last year.
Right.
And, that's a sense of pride with those offensive linemen and the tight ends and also with the offensive running backs. But trying to find guys, we think we've got talented guys that can step in. One of the things, Ron, that we've tried to do over the last couple of years, and you talked about the offense and defensive line, last year in 8 of the 13 games, we played as many as 9 offensive linemen in a game. We played 11 defensive linemen in a lot of those games to try to build the depth and try to, so that when somebody does graduate, the next guy can step up and take that place.
Oh, by the way, the 8 sacks given up last year, 3rd fewest in the country.
Yeah.
Last year, it was kind of a running back by committee.
Sure.
Is there someone zeroed in right now to be the man?
Yeah, obviously, our top 3 running backs, Anthony Jones and Napoleon Maxwell and Devontae Price, those 3 guys, it's still a little bit of running back by committee because in the old days when you ran 58 plays on offense, one guy might play 40 of those plays. Well, now we run 75 to 90 plays. There's a lot of opportunities for those guys to get into the game and stuff. And to be honest with you, if you go back to my days at Miami when we had Willis McGee and Clinton Portis and all those guys. We had 5 running backs that went on to the NFL. They went in mint conditions, and it's one of the things, you keep these running backs fresh, that you keep them healthy. When they put them into the game, James knows that these guys, he can trust them in the pass protection, and they can bring a lot of things to the table.
Okay, you've got new defensive coordinators this year. Brett Guy, a good friend of ours.
Yep.
Wish you the best, Brett, by the way.
Yep.
What changes?
I think because of the talent that we've got in the back end, I think that we have an opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive than we've ever been in the first 2 years. We've got really good depth at the corner positions. We've got safeties now that have got the ability. They've played. They've started 13 games last year. Some of them started a few games in 2017, so that helps a lot. I think we've got a little bit more of experienced defensive linemen. Some of the kids, Noah Curtis and Kevin Oliver, are guys that they were thrown into the fire as true freshmen, and they really, to be honest with you, they probably shouldn't have played as much as they did. But now, 2.5 years later, now you've got 8 to 9 to 10 kids that you can rotate in, and the talent level doesn't take a dip.
you had one of the best secondaries, I think, in the conference, and obviously in football, to be exact. But one of the things against the run, how were you last year against the run? Because I didn't think you forced a lot of second and longs and third and longs last year.
I think that's one of the things that obviously was a huge goal and objective when we went into spring practice, and it'll continue during training camp in August. You really truly need to be able to control the running game, and there was games, some of them of which we did a very, very good job, and when we did, the results of the games were significantly easier to win. The ones that we didn't, we either lost or it was a tight fight, but we want to try to be significantly better in stopping the run, and obviously Sage is a big part of that as the middle linebacker, but the depth and the growth and the development with the defensive line will carry a lot of that.
Well, let's talk to quarterback James Morgan. As mentioned, he completed 65% of his passes last year. When you only have 8 sacks, number one, you're standing upright almost the entire game.
Yeah.
What does that allow you to do more of? You don't have to run around.
Right. So first of all, I'd like to just kind of piggyback off the statistic that you pointed out before.
Right.
So we were third in the nation. I think the first two were something like, don't quote me on this, but like Air Force and Army. So we're primarily exactly right. So no, it's fantastic when you have a line that is so devoted to it as our guys are. It makes it extremely easy to be able to get back there and like you said, have time and be able to get in a rhythm and let our receivers get open.
Well, I see Max Starks, who does play for the Steelers, standing over here. He does color.
Okay.
The way you're coming across, not his job's in jeopardy.
Let me kill this. We got to kill the music due to copyright restraints. I don't want to get popped with copyright, so we'll just show you what happened last year. So that's showing you some highlights. So I'm going to be honest with you. This team, this FIU team, it's coming into Yeoman Stadium. I'm going to tell you, this is not going to be a walk in the park. If you think this is going to be a walk in the park, you're kidding yourself. This is not some team that's going to so let's go back to what they were saying.
Like that, I'm like, man, my arms are getting tired. But it's phenomenal to have them, and they're so committed to it. It's awesome to have them.
And you also have a pretty good tight end.
Yes, sir.
All-conference USA freshman team.
Yep.
And you have a guy like Sterling Palmer. That's kind of a nice little outlet to have.
Definitely. He's a little bit of a taller guy, so you got a little bit bigger of a miss radius with that one, and it's always nice to have as a quarterback.
Let's talk to Sage Lewis, a prime defensive player in Conference USA. Led the team in total tackles with 132 last season. What is the identity of this defense, do you think?
The identity of this defense, I would say, just hard nose. Just whoever has the ball in his hand is at risk. So I feel like that's definitely the identity of this defense, and I feel like one of the biggest things this year is stopping the run and forcing negative plays. So I feel like we're coming into ourselves.
2 straight bowl games. The standard has been set, I think, right now for FIU.
Let me kill that. I'm gonna say this. What I was saying it just a few minutes ago, this is not going to be a walk in the park. We're going to have to be on our utmost game to win this game this Thursday. I'm going to tell you, look, they're not coming in to party and all that, so let's go back to what they were saying. I'm going to switch this back.
Well, I quit doing it because I was never good at it. But does that give you any type of motivation, Sage?
It's a great pat on the back, but it's also fuel to the fire. I mean, I work every day to be the best me I could be for my team. So I feel like, the preseason rankings and all that, like it's great, but it really doesn't matter. So I don't know. I don't even know.
You like hearing that as a coach, right?
Absolutely. But we learned the last 3 years. I think in 2017, a lot of the magazines said we were going to win. We were going to win 3 games, and then last year it was 4 or 5 games, and so they've already learned that whatever the prognosticators say doesn't make any difference. It's all about us and how we prepare to get ready for the season.
I've picked you to win it every year. Okay. I lied. My bad. Butch, one more question for you, and I've asked a lot of it. You've been around college football a lot. Number one, do you like the transfer rule in the portal?
a certain part of it. I love the idea about graduate transfers. I think that absolutely that's a slam dunk. Kid goes someplace, he gets an education, he's fulfilled his commitment to the team and to the to that university. He should be immediately allowed to go. The portal thing, I think one of the things that happened is a lot of the students didn't really understand the negative aspect. They saw 3 or 4 kids that filed for the portal, they got a chance, they went to some of the schools, and it looked like a great thing. But back in January, when there was like 2,800 kids in the portal, and there was only 300 scholarships available. So where are those 2,500 kids? Where are they going to land? They have no place to go to get a college education. So I think there needs to be some tweaks to it. I think that if a kid makes a decision and he wants to change because of whatever reason, he should be, but I'm not sure that they should be immediately eligible.
And finally, the targeting rule, now they're going to use replay. Good thing.
I love it. Yeah, because last year...
I see Sages over here.
We had 3 times when we had safeties that got either thrown out or rejected out of the game, and then you looked at the film and they didn't even hit the guy. I mean, they actually missed him. And so I like the idea that now that it's subjective to replay.
Butch, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, best of luck to you. Look forward to seeing you in the season.
Thanks for having me.
Stay healthy. When we come back, we'll go up the coast a little bit. We'll take Lane Kiffin and...
So I'll be honest with you. This is not, like I said, they're a very good team. We're coming into we're going to be going against a buzzsaw. That's one thing about it. We'll do breakdown. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm about to switch it over. Okay, switch it over to collegefootballstats.com. You can go there anytime to research your teams and stuff like that, and see their and like they said, the prognosticators, look, they might be absolutely wrong, and then on the people on social media as well predicting these teams to do well. But the truth of the matter is, it's all about that team. They're not worried about all these prognosticators. I mean, these so-called people that knows nothing about football. They just sit there and read that magazine and all that crap and expect to understand what these teams really do. That's the thing about it. So let's give you the analysis on the Florida International Panthers. I'm about to pull up the screen, so we're about to do that 1 second. Let me get this over to my screen, and we'll break it down for you. Okay, this is what I'm going to do in this game. Okay, this is what we're showing you, team stats from last season. Very impressive team stats. They put up 34 points last year. 34 points. That's something right there. Look, you can't overcome, stop or anything. So that was 13 games. They put up a total of 450 points a game. That's something right there. Tulane is going to have to make adjustments in the game and prevent this from happening, because they will put those points up. They only give up 25 points a game. 25 points a game. And that's something right there. That's a concerning factor right there. That's on the defensive side. But the offensive side, we can probably get some points out of it. We can get some points. If we can score in that red zone, that'd be fine. So, the 2 breakdowns right there. Okay, on first down conversions, they convert 273 first downs, 106 rushing, 143 passing, and also 24 by penalty. So they only had 24 first downs by penalty. They only commit 24 penalties when they get those first downs. So the biggest concern for this game, I'm going to say this, it's not letting them get those first downs. Because if you let them get those first downs, the drives will be prolonged. and it'll go on and on and on and on. Now, rushing the football, these guys, I'm going to tell you, they have 27 touchdowns in the game last year. Um, they run for 2,286. That's 4.80. So run defensively, we have to make significant alignments. We have to make some significant alignments for the run defense. We have to be very consistent on those run plays because they're going to run those balls. They're going to run, so they're going to give you some runs, no matter what. They throw the ball 383 times. Out of those 383 times, they can complete 251 passes, and they also throw 27 touchdowns. So they got that's an equal number right there. 27 touchdowns on pass and 27 touchdowns on run. So the pass game, we can get some blitzes in there. I mean, that quarterback that they have, James is Morgan, whatever. More. I'm gonna go over his stuff in just a few moments. They only turn over the ball with 8 interceptions. They only have 8 interceptions. So, look, that's the reason why we have to have significant cornerback play. We have to have our cornerbacks on an island. If we can get those players there, truth of the matter is we can stop those pass plays from happening. That's the biggest concern for this Tulane defense this Thursday night when we kick off the season. Now, on 859 plays, they put up 859 plays. They put up 5,480 yards. That's just something right there. And the average is 6.38. 6.38. But on defense, they only give up 5,022 yards. So 5,022 yards, look, on 887 plays, look, that's something right there to be concerned about. Because this team right here, they will run. They will run. They're going to be a running team, but they will pass at times. That's the thing about it. Now, on punt returns, we're looking at punt returns. We'll go ahead and break that down. 15 punt returns for 219 yards, so they're very stout on punt returns, and they have 1 touchdown. They average 14.60. 14.60. So that's what you got to look at right there, punt returns. So if we have to punt, we better have the good special. We better have that special teams come down that field and make those plays. Now on kickoffs, they have 29 kickoffs. They have 504 yards. So they rack up 504 yards on kickoff returns. That's for Florida International alone. Also, on interceptions, this is the biggest stat you got to look at. It's turnovers. They will get. They have 17 interception returns and 2 touchdowns. 17 interception returns for 2 touchdowns. Also on defense, they have 8. They have 8 of 76. 8 returns for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now fumbles. This is something, that's another stat I look at every single time. It's just fumbles. Because that is the contributing factor to your turnovers. So they only fumble the ball 5 times out of 17 attempts. 5 times out of 17 attempts. Also, they cause 5 fumbles on 12 attempts. 5 fumbles on 12 attempts. The penalties, they rack up penalties. I mean, that's something that they will do. That's human nature right there. When you make mistakes like that, that's human nature. They rack up 65 total penalty yards for 609 yards. Same thing on the defense, 60. So for 572. Now, time of possession. They win their time of possession battle. That's one thing about it. They will win their time of possession battle in these matchups. So that's another important stat people don't realize. Because when you watching football, I mean, sure, people's going to just watch football, but they don't pay attention to these things because they look. This is very important. Sure, they might not be as important to people, but it's important to the coaches because they have to have an idea about this team. So, also, let's go over the third down conversions, both on defense and offense. Third down conversions, Florida International has 81 third down. They're at 46.82%. That's on offense alone. So, the third down off defense for Tulane has to be on its toes and not give up those third downs because that's going to prolong your drives. That's going to prolong your drives. Now, on the offensive side, they give up 40%. So if we can take advantage of those 40% on third down offense, their defense is they're giving up 40%. So if we can take advantage of it, that would be perfect. Now, in your red zone efficiencies, this is another stat that will stand out in games. Florida International has converted 81% of their conversions. 81% of their conversions. That's something right there. So third on those defensive alignments, that's going to have to be we're going to have to make some plays there to prevent them from getting into the end zone. That's the biggest concerns is the red zone, the turnovers. So they could get those turnovers now. They could get those fumble returns. They could cause fumbles. That's one thing. They had 5. Also, offensively, they only give up 5. So that's the biggest thing we're going to be looking at this Thursday night. Also, field goals. They kick only 14 of 18 field goals. That's another thing right there. So, and they also force offenses to kick field goals as well. Only 11 out of 18. 11 out of 18. That's something right there we're looking at. Now, let's give you the, let's go ahead and pull this up. Let's give you their last year's results. Let's go ahead and go through their results. They lost to Indiana. It was a shootout game, 38-28. Also another shootout game against Old Dominion. That was at Old Dominion. But they blew out UMass 63-24. Also, they played against Miami. And they lost to Miami by a few points. Also, They played against Arkansas Pine Bluff and just literally destroyed them, 55-9. Now, going down to their schedule against Middle Tennessee State, they had a pretty. These were all mostly shootout games. So these were shootout games against Middle Tennessee State, and then Rice. It was 36-17, and also Western Kentucky 38-17, and also they played against Florida Atlantic, and they blew them out. Also, they blew out UTSA. So they blew out UTSA 45-7. That's what, look, that's those scores right there, what we're looking at right there. Last year, Florida International went 9-4, and they also had a pretty good year. They went to a bowl game last year, so that's another reason why you can't count out this team. In the month of August and September, they finished 3-2. So they had a good 3-2 month in the August and September time frame. Also, in the month of October, they started heating up. They were 3-0. So in the month of November, they even up at 2-2. But this right here against I'm going to show you right here. This is against the BCS 9AQs. They went 8-2 against those BCS 9AQs. Now, against the unranked opponents, they have a 9-4 record. So they're 9-4 against those unranked teams. So they're they're on a good mark right there. Now, road and home sites, they went 5-1. So road and home, so they're 5-1 on the road. So they're very good, absolutely on the road, without a shadow of a doubt. They are very good. I mean, I'm not just telling you this just to be know it all, but this is what we're showing you. Okay, we'll show you what they're passing. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Okay, James Morgan. This is the guy that was in the video at the conference media days. He is a junior this year, and he most likely will. You will most likely will see him probably this coming Thursday against the Greenies. He's got a good. His quarterback rating is 157.64. He throws for 227 yards. He is good. He's a good quarterback for them. And that's one of the so they're going to have 2 juniors. So that's another 3 juniors on that team. 3 juniors. That's very experienced right there for this team. Maurice Alexander, he only played he played 13 games. He only got 2 snaps out of that. Also, Christian Alexander played 10 games. And he could throw as well, 427. He only has 1 touchdown and 1 interception for FIU. So that's one of the reasons. So if you're going to see Morgan, you're going to probably see Morgan. Because I think he's going to be in there. And he's probably going to be, I think it's going to be problems for the Tulane Green Wave. I think it's going to be that that quarterback right there, Morgan. That's going to probably give this team problems. Now, let's go over to the running backs. Let's go ahead and give you the running back breakdown for FIU. Okay. Napoleon Maxwell, he is the senior, so he's going to be he averaged 5.34 yards per a carry. He had 7 touchdowns last season, so that's going to be another concern right there. So we have to stop these running backs. They have the top 3 running backs. Also, Devontae Price, he's a sophomore. So you're going to probably see Devontae Price in this game against the Greenies. Also, Shardarius Phillips, he's a junior, so you have another guy. They also have, he's averaging 4.5 a carry, so that's another guy. Also, and they got another guy named Anthony Jones. He is a junior this year, so he's a junior. He has average 5.4. He has 6 touchdowns a game. And also, now Alexander, the quarterback, he is a running quarterback. So Alexander is a running quarterback. Also, let's see, we're looking at Morgan. Morgan's not a running quarterback, so he hasn't. He's not very reliable run. So this guy, if they put this guy in, Alexander, he's going to be a threat. So I think that's going to be your threats right there going into the game against the Greenies. So that's your threats will probably be Maxwell, Price, Phillips, and Jones. That probably be your 4 running backs. That's going to be your the problem for the that's going to probably give Tulane defensive problems. So let's give you another breakdown. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm about to do that in 1 second. Okay, let's give you the wide receiver breakdown for them. Okay, the wide receiver breakdown. Okay, okay, Wooten's a junior, so he's going to probably be getting some time in the game this coming Thursday night. Also Maloney as well. Also Maurice Alexander. He's also another guy with Florida Atlantic. Not Florida Atlantic. Florida International. I get it confused. Florida International. But they got a good sophomore. This guy right here, Singleton. I'm going to tell you, he's got a good average right there. He's got 2 touchdowns. So the main 2 guys right there would be Wooten and Maloney. So that would be your 2. And also Alexander. That would be your 3 guys. Your 3 guys that's going to probably make some plays. And they're going to be in that game this coming Thursday night. So also they got a pretty good core right here. Wide receiver core for Florida International. So they have a young freshman, this guy Palmer. He's got some catches. He's got some catches under his belt. Also, let's see. They got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. So they got 7 juniors on their team. And let's see how many sophomores they got. 1, 2, 3. So 7 juniors, and so 1, 2, 3. That's 3, and 3 sophomores, and also let's see, 1. So many freshmen. 2, 3. They only got 1 senior, and that's Napoleon Maxwell. He's most likely going to have another. He's going to probably get into the game as well. So they're going to probably utilize their wide receiver core because they got some veterans on their team. they got some veterans for Florida International, without a shadow of a doubt. So that's something we're looking at. Okay, let's look at their defensive guys. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at their sack leader. I'm going to pull that up 1 second. Okay, the sack leader. Let's look at their guys that had sacks last year. They had 22 sacks last season, so that's something right there. We can't be, if it's McMillan, we cannot hold on to the football too long, because these guys, they're going to sack you. They're going to get some blitz in there. They're going to call something that's just going to confuse the offensive line, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be some problems. Their main sack leader is Tart. It's T-A-R Art Terraire Art. So he has 4 sacks. Also, Anthony Johnson has 3 sacks for FIU. So these guys, I'm gonna tell you, this guy, I'm gonna highlight him. Johnson and Tart, and Tart is T-A-R-T. That's the guys that's going to be the biggest concern. He's a junior and he's a senior, so that's going to be some. They got some people that can make some plays and make sacks, because when you have 22 sacks last season as a team, look, that's saying something about Florida International, without a shadow of a doubt. That's saying something about them. So I look at it this way. This is not going to be the end of the world. Okay, let's give you the interception leaders. I'm going to give you some information on them. Okay, the interception leaders. Last year they had 17 interceptions, 2 returned for touchdowns. Your main guy had returned those 2 was Rocky Jaquez Lewis. He's a freshman, so I'm pretty sure that they're going to have people that's going to be making plays. He's a linebacker, so he's a freshman linebacker, so he's going to make some significant plays in this game against the Green Waves. So that's something right there that we cannot be doing, is throwing interceptions, because these guys can return those interceptions for touchdowns, and that will be a defensive touchdown. So that's something I cannot stress enough on these videos. I cannot stress this stuff to people, that this is something, this is a very serious, this is not play around stuff. Look, we can't be playing around. We got to have significant pass protections for McMillan. We have to have those things. So, and also, we have to have our wide receivers catch the football, because if you don't catch the damn football, the problem is it's going to turn into an interception and also a touchdown. And it will be a touchdown. So I'm serious about this. I'm not sitting here trying to scare people here at 12:20 Central Time, here on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm trying to make people aware. If you're a fan of this team, football team, let's not take this team lightly. Absolutely not take this team lightly. So I'll be honest with you. Look, let's give you the turnover margins. Let's give you what they're been doing last season. I'm going to show you that. This is a line right here. Last year they had 22 Their turnover margin was plus 9, so plus 9 in the turnovers. So they're plus 9. So if you can get a turnover on their offensive side, on their offensive series, you can get the ball back. We have to force those turnovers. We have to do it. We have to make them give the ball up. We have to do it. We have to be very vigilant and try to get those turnovers. I don't care if it's an interception. I don't care if it's a fumble. We got to get those turnovers because that will get the ball back for the Tulane offense, and that's what we have to have. So, so that's my breakdown on the Florida International Panthers. So let's give you one more stat. I'm about to do that in 1 second. All right, let's give you. I'm trying to see what we can give. Okay, tackles for loss. This is what we're going to be showing you. Tackles for loss. This is what I'm about to show you in just a second. This is a screen right here through from college football stats. You can go to cbstats.com. That's cbstats.com. As a team, the tackles for loss, they went up to 68 last year. They had a pretty good tackles for loss tandem right there. And some of these guys, they got Tart, he has 7. Freeman, he has 7. Johnson, he has 6.5. Jermaine Sheriff has 5.5. Also, Richard Dames has 4.0. Sage Lewis, that's the guy that was in the video that we just showed for conference USA Media Days. That's another guy. He has 4. Also, Noel Curtis has 3.5. Filmer Silver has 3. So they have some guys that's going to get those tackles for loss. And that's the biggest concern right there. Let's not, as an offense, let's not give them tackles for loss. We have to, if we do a run and play, the offensive line has to be on its toes. We have to block. We have to have those blocks set up. If you don't have those blocks set up, if say for instance, if Corey Dorfine gets the ball and he gets a tackle for a loss, like it's going to be a loss, and that's lost yardage for the offense. So I'm looking to see, look, if this offensive line can be effective against FIU, because Auburn next Saturday is going to be another game that's going to be tough. I mean, that's SEC opponent right there. So let's go ahead and give you the breakdown on their. Let's go ahead and give you the breakdown of the depth chart. I'm about to do that in 1 second, and then we'll give you a breakdown on the. We'll go to FIU's. Waiting on it to come up. We'll give you the depth chart breakdown. I don't know why it's not coming up slow. It's coming up very slow. So waiting on the computers to get in Senate. I'll have to do it again. I'm going to switch it over. Okay, this is for college football. We're going to start doing college football. So let me go ahead and switch this over to NFL. We'll go college football. We'll give you the depth charts for Florida International. I'm about to do that in a second. Let me get that switched over. Okay, I'm going to go to the depth charts. Okay, this is your depth chart right here. We're showing you depth chart. that was put out August 17th. Maloney, he is their number one wide receiver. Also, Darius is their number two. Singleton is their also their Singleton. He's a junior. Also, Maurice Alexander. He's also their on a depth chart. Also, Anthony Gators, the fourth. I'm looking at it. That's they don't have a number three wide receiver, so that's your wide receivers right there for the FIU Panthers going into this game against the Green Wave. Now your offensive line, we're showing you their offensive line. The offensive line has junior, sophomore, senior. So they only have one senior on their. James Morgans is going to play in that game against the Greenies. So that's going to be your quarterback. Also, they got a prefer quarterbacks. They have Wiggins and also LaRum, Caleb LaRum. That's one of their quarterbacks. So there are three quarterbacks there. Now your running back is Price. Also Anthony Jones. So that's one of their running backs right there for FIU. Now the defensive side, Curtis Noel, Tart. He's going to be a defensive tackle. Woods is defensive tackle. Jason Mercer will be. He's a sophomore. Also, same guy I showed that he had a tackle for loss. That's Rocky. Jaquez Lewis. Also, Sage Lewis is going to be at linebacker. Also, Jamel Gates. They have Jamel Gates. So Sage Lewis is going to be that starter going into this game against Tulane. Now the kickers. Let's give you the kickers. The kicker is Jose Beauregard. I'm saying his name as Borreg Beauregard. I'm saying his name right. So that's he is going to be the place kicker. Tommy Helpfully, I'm saying his name right. He is going to be the punter. Also, punt return Alexander and also Maloney is going to be on the kickoff return. So that's going to be your depth chart. This is the updated depth chart for the Florida International Panthers. I keep saying Florida Atlantic. Florida International Panthers. So they run a 4-3 multiple. They also run a pro set. So they're going to be running a pro set in that game. So we have to see. But they're going to run the football most of the time. They will run the football. That's something right there in the game to be concerned about. So if you're watching that game, it's going to be on. I think it's going to be on ESPN U, not ESPN U, ESPN 3 or whatever. So that will be this coming Thursday night. I look at it this. Let's give you the point spread indicators. I'm about to do that in 1 second. I'm about to give you the point spread indicators on this game. Give me 1 second to switch it. So we're going to switch over to the point spread indicators for this game. I'm about to put it in. We'll go to covers.com. Covers.com is a website we use when we do these point spread indicators. for football. So I'm going to pull it up in a second. Okay, I'm about to pull it up 1 second. Give me just a second to get that information in. See if I can grab it. Okay, this is see if I can grab it off the see if I can grab it. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try to see if I can get it. So I see if I can get the point spread indicators for the game against FIU this Thursday. Okay, it's open line for the Tulane versus FIU game. It's 3.5, so it's 3.5 for and the live line is 2. So we'll give you the so it's 2-point favorites. So they're 2-point favorites at home. For the Tulane versus FIU game, so it's a it's 2 points going in. Go that up, turn that off, it's low. Okay, yeah, it's 2 going in, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So the line opened up at 3, but it's down to 2. I think this game right here, I think if we do what we have to do in this game against FIU, I'm pretty sure we'll win this game by maybe, I say, between, it's a 2-point difference. I'd say it's going to be maybe 3.5. I'd say about 3. I'd say a 3-point victory for Tulane. It's probably going to be maybe come down to a field goal or last second touchdown or whatever. I mean, so it's going to be maybe a 3-point victory going in. So I think it's going to go over the spread. I think it will, because look, you can say it's going to be maybe 2, but I think it's going to be the point spread's going to say I say 3.5. So that would be my assessment right there for the Tulane and FIU game, 3.5. So Bet America, 88sport.com has it at 2. PointBet has it at 2. FanDuel has it at 2. DraftKings has it at 2. Caesars Sportsbook it's kind of off the mark. Also, Bet365 has it at 2. WilliamHill.com has it. Also, the Westgate Casino has it at 2. So I'd say 3 in this game. So that is my breakdown. Okay, let's go ahead and switch this out. Okay, I'm about to do that. 1 second. Okay, get that all back to the rear stream side. Okay, this concludes today's Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show for Tuesday, August 27th. We'll be back later with the podcast. That's going to be the Sports Time New Orleans podcast right after the Coach Willie Fritz show tonight. So we'll have that as well. It'll be between 6 and 7. We'll have the Willie Fritz show. If you want to come in and talk about the game between Tulane and FIU this coming Thursday, you could do that. during the show and also do it during the podcast as well. So that will be later on this evening. So that will be on the plan tonight. Once again, like, share, and subscribe. Everything's on your screen. If you see it, if you're on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, it's on the screen. You'll also my emails, my Skype, my Google Hangout is also on there, and also my social media addresses is also on the screen. So everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and we'll see you later for the Coach Willie Fritz show, and also we'll have the Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast show later on. So everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and we'll see you later.